Hey guys, this is Brad from Dallas Geek, and I'm here today with
Krystle Starr.
And we're here talking about your journey in cosplay and all of the awesome opportunities you've had that have kind of more or less stemmed from it.
How much time we got? I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. And thank you, 501st, for letting us use your awesome backdrop of indoor. So you guys rock.
So, how'd you get started?
How did I get started with cosplay a billion years ago? I actually I worked on the school newspaper with my girlfriend, Clever Fangirl, who's also here in Dallas. We worked on a school newspaper together, and we used to get into a lot of these smaller conventions. Actually, there were no big conventions actually when we started. So we would do, we would meet a lot of these celebrities, and back then, this was 7-8 years ago. So we could go up to Christopher Lloyd, have a sit-down interview with him, Shatner, have a sit-down interview with Shatner. That just doesn't happen anymore. And yeah, oh my. And so my dad is huge, my dad's a Trekkie, my mother is a Jedi, so that makes me a little spaced out. But yeah, I wanted my dad to meet the entire living cast of the Star Trek original series. Nice. And so that's kind of how I started going to the shows. And when we graduated, Laura and I actually created our own magazine called Samaze Magazine. It was a nerd culture magazine that we ran for a little while, and then that actually turned into Nerd Ninja, which still operates online today. So you can go check out nerdninja.com, which is still up and running. And since then, I guess we all kind of graduated college and we kind of started doing our own jobs. I started in the mocap industry, so I did a lot of video games like Star Wars Connect. We worked on a lot of the Tony Hawk stuff. I interned a long time ago for the Tony Hawk stuff. And then a bunch of other titles there with mocap. And I was there for a while, so I started, doing the mocap, and then I started directing the mocap, and I started doing. Did a lot of mocap work at Modus, and that was just an amazing experience for myself. And then I actually started teaching adults with special needs at My Possibilities, which I'm actually going back on Monday to do a top secret project with, which I can't talk about yet. Okay. But we may be able to, I can't even say that. I want to say so much, but I'm under NDA, so I can't. So anyways, I worked at My Possibilities, and I was an art teacher there for a while, and I actually started the comic club there, and I got a lot of my students to come to the Dallas Fan Expos a few times. We had a huge booth. We got a big motorcycle in there, like a Captain America motorcycle, and I had all my students do strictly comic art for honestly, we worked 6 months to get the gallery going for Fan Expo. And Ben Stevens actually is one of the owners of Dallas Fan Expo, bought one of our pieces. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Kevin Conroy bought one of the Batman pieces. So I got a lot of my students to meet a ton of actors and people that they're super, fans with. We got to talk to Carrie Fisher, and Carrie Fisher actually stopped her line and brought out Gary, her puppy. And she actually really met and hung out with a lot of my students for a while, and that was probably one of my most precious memories. That and Stan Lee, we did a private session with Stan Lee at one of the shows behind stage, so we got all my students there, and Stan was awesome. He met all of them, and he actually signed a couple of their art pieces, and the motorcycle, which I have currently in my garage. And it was just a really amazing experience. And I actually left My Possibilities because we were working on a project that took about a year, and we were talking we were doing our goals. So we did this really cool deal where at the beginning of the year I had all my students write down their goals, and then at the end of the year we were comparing our goals. So we complete our goals, and we used to work on it monthly as well. And they were like, Krystle, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, I want to work on movies. I want to do this and that. And they're like, well, why don't you do it? And I was like, whoa, the student has become the teacher. And so I actually said goodbye to my students, which was the hardest thing for me to do. And I went to go work for Captured Dimensions. Okay. And then I got to work on Logan. What else did we do? A little bit for Wonder Woman. A little bit for not Fifth Passenger, Passengers. Big difference. And a bunch of other films. So we got to that was really cool too. And it wasn't mocap, but it was similar. It was digital scanning. Yeah. And so I kind of went from there, and then I went from there to Cosmunity, which is now Fanguru, and then I left that company and went straight into Star Trek Adversaries. So I'm kind of like, I'm back in a full loop.
Yep.
Started at video games, back at video games. And the funny thing is my boss, Josh, who created Star Trek Adversaries, we met at Star Trek Las Vegas a year ago.
Nice.
And he did all the special effects with all of, for Logan, with all of my scans. So we're like, what? Because you rarely get to meet the special effects team that works on your scans. It's really cool. So that's how Josh and I's relationship kind of started. And then later he was like, yo, I got this game. And I was like, what? So I game tested that for a while, and now I work for them. And it's really just taken me around. And we did a couple of pilot shows with Orlando Jones. We did Making the Con. So then we also did another pilot called Unconventional. So we've just done a lot. I've done a lot of filming and a lot of stuff at conventions. And honestly, I know so many of people from East to Coast to West Coast. And I consider a lot of these people my family and friends. And I honestly spend a lot of time online with a lot of these people, and very few of them live in my state, in my city. And I think that's a big part of the reason why people in Dallas are like, oh, Krystle never talks to me. And I'm like, if you guys ever feel like that, please reach out 3 times. Give me 3 chances. Because I definitely have a lot going on. But yeah, I mean, I'm constantly just changing and evolving, and this community has been so powerful throughout my journey.
I mean, it does seem like just starting off, getting into the conventions, getting into cosplay, just has kind of given you opportunity after opportunity. I mean, all within nerdy or nerdy adjacent realms, and it sounds like you've had an amazing time of it.
Had a wild ride, lots of ups, downs, all around. It's been fantastic, and I don't think I would have done it a different way.
Nice.
My biggest regret is not joining the 501st sooner. I'm not joined there yet, but I do have a Fem Trooper in a box. Apparently, we're going to start building it.
Nice. So, of all the opportunities that you've had, and all the just really great things that you have been thrust into the middle of, what's been your favorite so far?
My possibility is working with my students 100%.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't even know anything about that one.
Which, of course, because it honestly is such an important thing, piece of the stuff that you've done. If any of our viewers out there wanted to be able to participate or volunteer or in any way find out about it, where's the best place they can go to get more information?
So if mypossibilities.com. If they want to volunteer, I would reach out to the school. I no longer work for the school. I still volunteer. But it's you got to do background checks, of course, because we want all of our hipsters to be obviously with people who have had thorough background checks. So yeah, I think My Possibilities and the Star Trek Adversaries are my 2 favorite places that I've done. Don't get me wrong, I love working in the film as well, but it's really stressful. It's really stressful, and you have to be super professional, which I can be if I want to be.
Yeah.
It's just a very different hat.
Yeah. A whole different side of your personality.
Yes. You really have to kind of turn that personality. You can still have it, but you're you are in there, out of there, bam, bam, bam.
Yep.
So I think that, and the Star Trek game is just, Star Trek is such a big part of my life. Star Wars and Star Trek, mother, father. I can't really separate them. I swing both ways. But yeah, I just think that, working on a title like that has been just really incredible.
Okay.
Because I get to work with a lot of the actors too. Got to, and especially at Star Trek Vegas, we got to just meet a handful of really wonderful people who have really changed the shape of history and science. And all this awesome spacey stuff.
I mean, there are plenty of people out there that look at cosplay, look at conventions, look at all this nerdy stuff, and think, what can you possibly get out of it in terms of a career or whatever?
Nothing out of a career.
Even when it comes to how much more popular in the public mind this has all become, there's always that question. So,
what's the question?
That question of, is it possible? So my question to you is, all of these things that you've gotten into, the different games, different companies, all that, what's been the biggest lesson that you have learned that maybe that one viewer at home that wants to do something similar might be able to benefit from?
I'll think about that while they talk. I think the biggest thing for me is just really, really be true to yourself. And at this, in this community, there are so many positives, and really focus on the positives. Don't dwell on the negative. Don't let anybody's words or actions mold who you are. And I think that's a hard thing for the community, because so many of us are so sensitive, and we're mostly artists, or in some form or fashion, we are artists, or we are storytellers, which also artists. And so I think that a lot of us have like a soft cookie. So I think that just know you, and as long as you're good, I think you'll be good. So don't let people walk on you, and make sure you surround yourself with good people.
Awesome.
So.
Very, very nice.
Yeah.
Well, the last thing that we always want to be able to make sure that our guests have a chance to be able to do, if our viewers wanted to be able to find more of you and your work, where are the best places they can look online?
Google me. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. Don't do that. Those are really bad photos, actually. We played that game a couple weeks ago. Don't do that. You can find me at Krystle Star Wars, KrystlStarrWars on Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, other platforms, I'm sure. I also have a Star Trek account. It's called Starfleet Academy. Star with 2 R's, like my last name. So depends on what you're into, what your flavor is, if you like Trek Wars. But yeah,
Awesome.
Krystle Star Wars, spelled correctly.
Well, all right. If you're not already following her, you messed up. You gotta fix that. So, until next time.
For me, you hear that? That cheers for me.
Until next time, this is Brad from Dallas Geek saying, see ya.